So I initially had been doing things on my own. Um, and so I had been doing some mindset coaching. And then as I met Dane and as we said, okay, we are on the same page here, let's move forward with this. It was actually surprisingly challenging for me to get out of that solopreneur mindset where it's like I have to be in all of the pots all of the time, right? Because when you're doing it on your own, you do have to be there. But then to learn to be like, oh, okay, actually I can just trust this person to do this. That was like a little bit of a hurdle that I had to personally get over.
We have our next guest. Jordan will be joining us. I believe he is here. We have a jam-packed day, as I mentioned earlier on. It was so powerful having Ryan Knight here with us today, as well as Tara, and really, really excited, Jordan, to have you on board to talk about your academy as a registered kinesiologist, yes, tongue twister from McMaster, and your passion around mindset and sustainable living. And honestly, as an entrepreneur on my journey thus far, I could say the winning factor has been my mindset. I can do this. I oftentimes think about the little train that says he could. I believe his name was Tom. I said, I wish they changed the story, because the true story goes, I think I can, but I can't. I think I can. And then he says, I can, I think I can. And he starts going up. I think I can, I think I can. But then I felt it missed that piece. I did it. I could do this, and for me, it was like, that's been me, right? And then I
Yeah.
go, I don't know if I can do this, but no, I've done it in the past, or I've done something, and now I'm like going ham, as they say. So Jordan, it is a privilege to have you here with us today. Tell us a little bit about your company and what you do.
Thank you so much. I totally agree. Mindset is like, it is the thing. And we're gonna get into it a little bit after as well. So Sword Academy. What we do at Sword Academy is teach holistic fitness. Holistic fitness is an individualized and sustainable way of being, of always becoming better in body, mind, and spirit, understanding that all parts of this is really important if we are to develop and become better as individuals.
No, that's awesome. And so when did you get started on with your company?
We launched Sword Academy. We being my partner and I launched Sword Academy um, about 6 or 7 months ago. Um, Sword Academy has some proprietary systems that were in development for the last 7 years, and they've just been building and building and building. And now we're like, okay, we are ready to go.
You're ready to unveil. So talk to us a little bit about, you know, you said proprietary systems. You officially launched during the lockdowns, COVID.
Yeah.
But what is that experience? Someone coming into Sword Academy, what are they coming into? What are they leaving with, or staying and being part of?
Yeah, amazing question. So at Sword Academy, we cover a lot of things. So our flagship program is a really individualized training system that we guarantee results. Every person who comes in, we guarantee with your money back, you will get results on this program. Um, we couple that with mindset coaching so that then we can not just work on the body, but also work on the mind. As we begin to work on the mind, we start to do the things that are in our favor that then continue us down this path. And for the spirit, we're not, teaching religion, but what we're doing is teaching some yogic philosophies that then allow us to connect. Can I connect with myself? Can I connect with others? Can I connect with this planet? And when we become part of this community of people who are all on this journey together and are there to support one another along their journey. Um, yeah, so people come in and they get this full body, mind, spirit growth, as well as being a part of a community of people who all believe in this.
Hey, no, that's really powerful. On my own personal holistic journey, as I like to say as well, it was really coming into that place as I shared, feeling like I'm not good enough, I can't do these
Yeah.
things. But for me, in 2016 in particular, really, I call it my enlightenment period. I was in one of the lowest places that I've been in my life. My cousin was brutally murdered, experiencing over at that point in time 14 or 15 years of hair loss, and just feeling like I'm not fitting in, I'm not good enough, and the struggle was real, let's just say
Mm-hmm.
that. But in that moment, I felt like I connected with God in a different way, and it was now stepping into the space of seeing myself through his eyes. So it says, you are love, you are love, you
Yeah.
are righteous, you are truth, you are pure. And I started believing, and literally I have pages of me just writing out these statements, how he's seeing me in my belief, how he's seeing me, and stepping into that where I saw I have value. I now knowing that, no, I am value, so I
Yeah.
embody this. And because that is true, I know I have value to share with others, and I see people the same way. And I believe when we come into community, that value, I talk about it, gets maximized tenfold, right? And so
Oh my
that's been
God, yes. Yes, absolutely.
yeah, that's been me a little. And so I love that place of starting with self. And there's a lot of healing that we need to go through in order to really share that with the world. I think
Yeah.
where I've lacked a little, I will say, is that consistency around maintaining good physical health. People see me and they're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, you're so athletic," and I say, I have an athletic body. However, that was like work that I did when I was in high school and, in
Right.
my early 20s. It just stuck. But I was thinking, if I want to still look this good 50 years from now, because my
Yeah.
goal is to get to 124. But if I want to look this good down the road, I got to do the work now. So really
Yes.
coming back into that alignment of saying, I want better for myself and I'm going to do that. So how do you help people who are like fluctuating like that?
Well, I think this points to a really big problem that we are experiencing in our healthcare system, which is that we want quick fixes for everything. And especially with fitness, right? We everywhere we look, there's pills or products or shakes or whatever it is that's going to get you there. And I think we really need um, to take an honest look at it and say the only thing that's going to get us results is our lifestyle. Whatever way those results lean, it's still our lifestyle that gets it. And so if we want to see sustainable results, then we have to do something sustainable and create this lifestyle that just by you living, you get results.
Yeah.
And that is what we do at Sword Academy. It is a lifestyle that you just become these results.
Yeah, I love that. You become the results. And that is so true, right? And
Mhm.
ultimately, going from just the affirmations, that's good, can help reprogram your mind and all of these things. The next step is taking that action, right? And so
Absolutely.
that gets manifested in the lifestyle that you want. So you could say, I am great, but if you're like, you know, being a horrible person, or like your environment isn't great,
Yes.
ah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And really stepping into those values and as you said, like becoming the value if or the affirmation if I am great, but not just saying it, but you know, owning that in everything that you do in every moment of your day to become that.
yes.
That's life changing.
Yes, yes, I love that word, life changing. And so, in terms of the physical activity, because I am asking about this because this is an area that I am reclaiming for myself, and
Nice.
so I went through. COVID has definitely. The lockdown, and I mean, I'm blaming COVID, but it's within me. I say I gotta stop blaming COVID. It's I who ate and sat and did nothing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. And so for myself right now, I'm on this 15-day challenge, working to complete a 15-day Afro-centric dance. I started yesterday. Today I decided I'm gonna take a break, maybe, because the Afro dance, you're waving your arms, you're moving. And this morning I woke up and I'm like, oh, this is what it feels to be working out. I am so sore. So like, what is the fitness technique or routine? I see some belts on your wall there. Is it martial arts based? Like, what is that fitness that you encourage people to step into?
Yeah. So um, our system is based on circuit training, or rather combined circuit training, martial arts, and yoga into every single workout. Um, and there's a number of reasons that we do this. But to really just summarize it, it's we believe that you should train for function. When you can begin to train for function, you are becoming the best version of yourself physically, right? And as a side effect of training for function, you then get more athletic. You then get better cardio. You then get in better shape and feel better and look better and all of that stuff. So yeah, this is my black belt in Taekwondo. Um, and I do lots of martial arts, and part of Sword Academy, which we can't launch yet because of COVID, is martial arts, and we will be teaching martial arts, namely kickboxing and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Cool. And so where are you located specifically? So do I have to come into your location physically, or could I have a room here. Could I do it on my own?
Yes, great question. So we're located in Dundas, Ontario, near Hamilton, Ontario. For our flagship program, where there's a lot of very, very focused attention on an individual, that is done in person. However, we are just about to launch online workshops, which can be done from anywhere in Canada. So it'll be body-based. You can work out with us at home. We're also going to be launching the coaching as this group online workshop that people can come to, yoga. We're doing ergonomics as well. When we launch our nature workshops, which we're just waiting on the weather for this one, those will obviously be in person, because if you're out in nature, you got to be out in nature, right?
I love it. I love the outdoors. I've done my own nature empowerment days and
Nice.
stuff like that. Um, that's beautiful. And I mean, I long for the day when everything opens back up and we can definitely meet in person and all of these
Yeah.
things. So hopefully sooner rather than later. But I think, making sure that people can access you online as you're doing, and it does take time. You're thinking about quality of your production,
Mhm.
all of these things, making sure that people get the essence and value that they'll be paying for. So that's really great to hear as well. So just I'm curious in terms of, you said you started this about 7 years ago. It's now coming to the world because
Yes.
it's already completed in your head. Now it's here. What are some of the challenges that you've experienced along the way in terms of getting to this place, or experiencing now that you have overcome or working through?
Yeah. So um, the systems are actually my partner's Dane's, and he started developing them 7 years ago. So talking just a little bit about my own entrepreneurial journey before I met Dane, it was, want to say, it really began in my undergrad doing kinesiology. We studied a lot of anatomy, physiology, and epidemiology, which is the study of disease. So we looked at, like, how are these lifestyle diseases happening, and then how does exercise play into this? And so we learned a lot about obesity, diabetes, heart disease. When I got out into the world, and I was personal training at the time and doing kinesiology, so like rehab type stuff, um, I worked a lot with a number of obese and diabetic individuals doing the things that we had been told to do, right? These are like the standard practices. Okay, but the thing is that the standard practices don't work, which is why we're seeing an increase in obesity and diabetes. And so I really sat down and was like, what's actually going on here? And how can we understand this better? And so what I began to realize is that these lifestyle diseases that we're seeing, very simply, are because of a lifestyle. And until we deal with the lifestyle, you're never going to fix it, right? So I said, how do we deal with the lifestyle? And this comes to this holistic approach of understanding that the mind is an incredibly important component of that, right? And so is our social health. What are you doing in your community? How are you fitting in and belonging and feeling appreciated? And so when I met Dane, and Dane was, like really one of the first people who I met who we were really just on the same page about things. And he had these systems that he'd been developing for 7 years ready to go. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And we launched Sword Academy. And since then, I'm really, really proud to say we have a 100% success rate. And in the fitness and health industry, like Dane and I just put everything we have into it. And so to be able to come on and to say that confidently feels really, really good.
Hey, that's powerful. And I know you started by saying you have a money back guarantee. And part of that is the results that, I think on both sides, like as I see myself as well as someone who comes alongside entrepreneurs to help them get up that mountain, but
Mm-hmm.
they have to get up, they have to do the work, right? And so
Yes.
you play this role of mentor, advisor, the leader to help them along their way, but they have to buy into that for themselves, right? So it's
Yes.
really great to hear that, you as a company, we're saying if you follow and build this holistic lifestyle that we're based on your vision for your life, right? So,
Yes. Absolutely.
making sure you did say customize a customized plan for
Yeah.
that person. And so being able to say, I'm taking ownership of the way that I want my life to be and go. And you're just here to help me along those ways. If the two of you, both parties, can come into that agreement and you're going, right? And I'm sure there's probably, cheat days. I don't know if that's in your lingo or system,
We call them
but
reward days, but yeah, they're
reward days,
there.
I like it. Really giving people a chance to live and knowing that I like to tell people you are the designer, right? Like
Yes.
you're not building a prison, you're building the life that you want. So you get to decide what's in it. What do you want to do? And so that's
Absolutely.
powerful.
Absolutely. You just summarized that so brilliantly. Well done. Yeah.
Thank you. I live in this space in a different way. I talk about a holistic life at one point. I was just sharing with our earlier guest, in 2016, one of the things that came out of that time was what I call the My Value Formula, where we look at 9 areas of your life through this holistic realm. So talking about the spiritual, the mental, the physical, the emotion, fun epical, which we'll talk a little bit about. Then looking at the relationships as well as the resources or managerial areas of your life. And then we talk about the charitable pieces as well. So the philanthropical stuff. And
Yeah.
there's one more. It will come to me. But really, I say we need to show up better. So the first 5 that I talk about is really you and the healing and all of the
Mm-hmm.
things that needs to happen. So then you could serve greater. And that's where we talk about the people or the professional. How are we making
Right.
money? So the professional piece is the fourth. So how we show up in our relationship, how we show up in our asset management. You have a car, you have a home, you have a room. How are
Yeah.
you like taking care of those pieces? The work that you do, so the professional piece, and then giving back to community. We can only show up great to serve greater, and that's my holistic approach to living and what I talk to my clients about.
I love it. Chris-Beth, that's amazing. I absolutely love it. Um, on the giving back to the community part, we also believe in this entirely. 5% of all of our company profits go back towards nonprofit work. As things open up, we're looking at getting people together. So if anyone is listening to this and you're like, hey, you know what, I'd love an opportunity to like feed the homeless, I'd love an opportunity to go plant trees or pick up garbage or just like give back, then reach out and we'd be happy to get some
Hey,
help with that.
that's awesome. That's awesome. One of the organizations that I work closely with is Rotary International, and they oftentimes do a lot of community service work here in Brampton and across the districts here in Canada, looking at youth leadership, looking at homelessness, in the environment. And really, at the end of the day, I like to tell people we're in community, right? And so if
Yeah,
one component or group in the community is suffering, we all ultimately suffer. How
it's
can you say
holistic,
you
right?
holistic? Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And so, Jordan, on your journey, thanks for sharing, how you started, and you talked about partnerships. And, sometimes when an entrepreneur gets a vision for themselves, they think I have to do this alone, or it's
Hmm.
mine and I'm not going to go and share with anyone else. You've entered into this co partnership. Can
Yep.
you talk to us about that experience and what you mentioned you guys were on the same page? So what are some of the elements you look for in a co-founder?
Oh, that's a great question. So I initially had been doing things on my own. Um, and so I had been doing some mindset coaching, and then as I met Dane, and as we said, okay, we are on the same page here, let's move forward with this. It was actually surprisingly challenging for me to get out of that solopreneur mindset where it's like I have to be in all of the pots all of the time, right? Because when you're doing it on your own, you do have to be there. But then to learn to be like, oh, okay, actually I can just trust this person to do this. That was like a little bit of a hurdle that I had to personally get over. In terms of what to look for in a co-partner, I would say communication, like someone who can communicate really, really well. Um, Someone who's open to growth and to new ideas. They got to be open-minded. Otherwise, you guys are just gonna clash, right? Um, the other is, I would say, self-aware. And part of like being able to communicate is to understand what am I experiencing right now, and then how do I communicate this in a way that now we can move past this. Because like the only guarantee is that there's going to be challenges, there's going to be roadblocks. It's just how do you then approach those?
No, that's really powerful. And so, folks, if you're looking and you're considering to find a co-founder or partner, I don't know if you know of any like great platforms people can go to find co-founders, but one that I know, I worked with him at Edge before. His name is Eric, and he started Founders Beta. So it's a platform where you could potentially find help to support the event here or co-founders as well. So, and I think communication is key. And the one thing I would also just add in there as well is making sure the values are aligned. And I think from the
Yeah.
beginning, you talked about being on that same page, and that's
Yes.
where that alignment happens, right? So I think that that's very, beneficial to folks as they're moving forward. I know one of the topics you love to talk about is really addressing the problem of health in our society, and how holistic fitness fixes it. So, do you
Yes.
want to just share a little bit more about that, as we go on?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is normally I'm like pretty like cool. This is like the one thing that really gets me amped up, fired up, this topic, because there's so much misinformation out there, right? There's so much confusion in the health field, especially, talking more about like long-term health. If you break your leg, you go to the hospital, it's like, this is the way it's done. But when it comes to something like losing weight or improving sleep or improving energy or um, how, like all of these different angles that we can look at, everyone's got different ways that they're going about doing things. Unfortunately, most of them don't work for long term, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's like let's say someone's struggling with sleep. People might say, yes, go on melatonin. Okay, but that's not really a long term solution, right? That's like, yeah, if you need it for like a week or two, great. But I'm assuming you want to sleep for the rest of your life, right? So
Yes.
um, whatever we're looking at there, I think we really need to take this long-term approach and understand that if we're going to take a lifetime approach, then whatever we're doing has to last a lifetime. You get results based on the action that you take. And so holistic fitness is this approach where we are constantly asking, how do I create this lifestyle for myself, this way of life where I'm becoming better in my body, I'm becoming better in my mind, I'm becoming better in my spirit. And it's just, every day, just that one little tiny bit better. And then you look back a few months and I hear this all the time, Chris-Beth. It's like what I'm doing today was impossible like a month ago.
Wow.
But it's just when we can take that approach that is just little by little by little in a way that's unique to you, that's going to last for you, that feels good for you, that's when we really see health, because health comes from the inside, right? And yeah.
No, I think that's so powerful. And I would just share this too. I think at the tail end of last year, really feeling the effects of COVID, the isolation, feeling like, I'm sitting for long hours, 16-hour days sometimes, and really coming to that place where I needed to say, I need to pause right now,
Yeah.
right? I need to step back from work. I need to really reevaluate where I'm going and how I'm going there, doing that mental check, also a physical check. At one point, I think I was so stressed or just dealing with so much, I couldn't lift my arm. So I decided to go on a 15-day yoga challenge. And I would say it was kind of like my first, like I've done some yoga before, but really like committing to yoga during that time. And to your point, I was like, a week ago, I couldn't do that. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And just the grounding, the centering, the breathing. So finding those nuggets to help. But I think to your point, it's around the holistic. And when I think of holistic, I'm thinking about consistency. I'm thinking about commitment. And those are the things that are truly required to live your life, your best life.
Yeah, and it's way easier than we think it is, right? When we go and we imagine what it's going to be, we imagine all of the steps and all of the challenges that we're going to possibly face all at the same time.
Yeah.
And then we're like, whoa, that's way too much. I can't do that. But when we can just realize it's baby steps and all you got to focus on is the next one and worry about the later ones later, then it becomes, okay, we can actually do this.
Hey, today's show has been so valuable. Our previous guest, Ryan, was talking about, not backing down from complex challenges, right? But really looking at it, developing the system, the plan to help. And to your point, is about that next step. It's about that next, win. It's about that next hurdle. It's about that next thing and moving towards the grand vision, right?
Yes.
And I love the fact that with Sword Academy, you all have been able to develop a system to show the next step, right? And so that's really powerful.
Yeah, thank you.
No, that's really great. So as we begin to wrap up, I'm just curious, have there been any books or resources along your way that you've read or used that have helped you navigate your entrepreneurial journey?
Definitely. I would strongly recommend the book Good to Great. Yeah, just a really, really awesome book. And in case anybody hasn't read this yet, I know that this is a super popular book, but Think and Grow Rich, definitely a must read. I really, really like that book.
Yes, both books, love it. It's on my shelf. I
Nice.
think I I used to do Think and Go Rich once a year. I think I will get back on that.
Yeah.
And Good to Great. It's funny. I think I've read that book twice now, and so it's definitely a go-to. Actually, the gentleman that was on earlier, Ryan, that was one of the books that we read together for the first time, and we were like dialoguing.
Nice.
Oh my goodness, this is so good. And on a road trip to Florida with my family one year, I literally read the book for, within a day. So it took us 22 hours and 22 hours.
Nice.
Yeah, all the pit stops and all of these things, the book was done.
Nice.
Yeah, so great books. And I guess my last question to you, Jordan, in terms of my word fun epical. So I talked about, being aligned in your spiritual, mental, physical, emotional, and phonetical. And I put this in the beginning state because people oftentimes think they need somebody else to make them happy. So
Hmm.
phonetical is fun and epic adventures, great or small, done to express self-love or to have fun. And so my question to you is, what is one thing that you do to express self-love in a fun epical way?
Hmm. What a beautiful question. Um, the thing that really pops up for me is jujitsu. I I absolutely love jujitsu. For anyone who doesn't know what jujitsu actually is, it's grappling, so there's no hitting each other, but you're down on the ground, and the objective is to have your partner submit to you. So whether it's like a choke or a limb break or like whatever that may look like, um, it's like human chess, and it's just endlessly fun, and it's very humbling, and it's a constant challenge. You can learn for decades doing it, which is I just yeah, I think it's amazing.
Hey, that's awesome. I don't think I've ever done martial arts in a formal way. However, I grew up watching Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, all of those Japanese karate films.
Yeah.
Love it. But and I practice on my own. But it has always been on my to-do list to really step into that. I think I told my mom one time I wanted to be an MMA fighter, and she's like, nope, take that off of your list.
Yeah.
But I think it is a beautiful art in itself, and as you said, you learn a lot of discipline and a humbling experience, which is really powerful.
Yeah, and and when we launch our martial arts workshops, I'll be sure to let you know, and then that might be a wonderful time for you to dip your toes in and see what's up.
Hey, I'm down. Tell me more and tell the audiences more. Once it's live, we will definitely share that. So, Jordan, it has been an honest privilege and pleasure having you here
Thank
today.
you.
Tell our viewers how they can get in touch with you if they're looking to learn a little bit more about what Sword Academy is all about, what you do, and how you can help them.
So you can check us out at www.sword, that's SORD, academy.ca. That's going to be where really like all of our main stuff is. If you want to follow me on my personal journey through holistic fitness, I do like to share that. You can follow me on Instagram at Jordan Kilpatrick-Smith. And we are going to be launching our Sword Academy Instagram in the near future. So if you're checking this out later, also look for Sword Academy on Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And to those that are viewing and will view this, we love you here at Empowered Facts. So from our team here, Jordan, to your team over at Sword Academy, sending you lots of love.
Thank
And
you.
to the viewers out there, just get started. Take the next step to believe in yourself, work on your mindset, really think about your life in a holistic way as you're
Yes.
starting this journey or restarting, right? This journey. So it has been a privilege and pleasure having you here again. Take care.
Thank you, Chris-Beth. Bye.
Bye.